Hey everybody, this is my alternate assignment. I was unable to attend the September 19th meeting, so I am going to do a book review instead. Having said that, this is not the first time I've attempted this video, so here's to hoping that I don't make any errors and it can be the last time I attempt this video. The book that I chose that I feel is quite useful when it comes to leadership is this book right here. It is called Building School-to-Work Programs, Strategies for Youth with Special Needs. It was written by Michael Benz and Lauren Lindstrom. This book was published in 1997 and is 238 pages long. When thinking about the books that I've utilized in the past that could help me develop my leadership style as well as complete this assignment, the very first book that came to mind was Harry Wong's The First Days of School. I've used this book previously in all aspects of my career as a teacher, and unfortunately I used it as a student at Chadron State, so that book was knocked out of the running. So I decided to go with Building School-to-Work Programs. This book is a book that was written to aid a program in Oregon called the Youth Transition Program. It was written to be applied to youth with special needs. However, much of its content can be applied elsewhere in life. The core purpose of this book is to help students with special needs transition from a school atmosphere to an adult workforce as effortlessly as possible. This transition requires a great networking between home, school, and the workforce atmospheres. As you navigate through this book, the author describes steps in implementing the transition process. Included are several steps, but I feel the most relevant steps that would be very useful in administration are to obtain support from within the school, to identify goals, interests, and abilities, to set up partnerships between the school and local businesses, and to develop a school team of support for individual students. The first section of this book that would be an asset in administration is to establish a support system within school personnel. Who are the dependable persons within the school that can serve as team leaders that will maintain a positive line of communication between teachers and administration? What types of programs can be implemented to further the education of our students? How will the staff cooperate to achieve these goals? All of these questions are very, very important questions that can be answered or, aided through the use of this book. This section of the book includes staff preparation, staff participation, evaluation, and restructuring. This support system would help meet our first standard that states, a school administrator is an educational leader who promotes the success of all students by facilitating the development, articulation, implementation, and stewardship of a vision of learning that is shared and supported by the school community. The second section of this book that is relevant in all aspects of life, particularly in education, is to identify goals, interests, and abilities. In the book, Building School-to-Work Programs, the author includes several pages that can be legally photocopied to help students identify their interests and abilities. Included in this section are subcategories that include work, continuing education, living in the community, as well as a goal-setting category. Each of these helps students set goals and achieve their maximum potential. It also sets the stage for establishing community relationships. Navigating straight into the third section I feel is very important is community involvement. We know that community involvement is a positive and very relevant idea. There are several pages in this section that pertain to developing a working relationship between the school and the surrounding community. Because of this idea, Standard 4 that states, a school administrator is an educational leader who promotes the success of all students by collaborating with families and community members, responding to diverse community interests and needs, and mobilizing community resources will be met. The final section of this book that I feel is very beneficial to our administrative program is the idea to develop a support team, particularly for those students who need the extra support. Managing school-to-work programs begins by describing the necessary procedures to implement an effective mentorship program. First, it begins by determining what type of program will be offered, what content areas will be addressed, possible places this mentoring could take place, and what unique features will be present. This mentorship program includes staff and students working together to create an atmosphere that is very beneficial to education. This idea meets the needs of Standard 2. A school administrator is an educational leader who promotes the success of all students by advocating, nurturing, and sustaining a school culture and instructional program conducive to student learning and staff professional growth. As discussed previously, establishing a staff support system within the school, identifying goals, interests, and abilities, setting up partnerships between the school and local businesses, and developing a school team of support for individual students are all wonderful attributes to a successful school and are all discussed in Michael Benz and Lauren Lindstrom's book, Building School-to-Work Programs, Strategies for Youth with Special Needs. As I finished this video, one line from the book really struck home with me as I was reading. It goes as follows. Ask successful people about what has made a difference in their lives. As often as not, the what will be replaced with a who. An adult who showed a special interest or who inspired, guided, and changed them during adolescence. Isn't this the whole reason we go into education? To be the who that makes a difference? Thank you.